All right. This is just another strategy that you're going to use to multiply numbers. And it'll help you. The distributive property allows you to multiply a sum by a number. To do so, multiply each add-in by the number, then add. Now, this is kind of what we did yesterday. Remember how we made this little, we said dead owl's face there? You have the two eyes, you have the beak in the middle there. You just need to realize that this is adding right there. That's adding, and these are multiplying. So let's look at this first problem here. For a field trip, 42 students paid $3 for transportation. Notice it says use mental math and the distributive property to find out how much money was collected altogether. Now, mental math, to be honest with you, is good if you are just trying to estimate something, but you don't need an exact number. I can tell you I don't want somebody who's putting my paycheck together to estimate or use mental math and to give it to me. I want them to use an exact number. So a lot of times when it says use mental math, you figuring it out on paper, I would rather you do that, honestly. So we have, and I think a lot of you saw yesterday that the numbers that they give you, 42 and $3, well, since we're doing distributive property, you should probably know that we're going to do what to those two numbers? What's that? You're going to multiply, all right? The only time you add would be right here after you distribute these numbers. Laura, yesterday what we did is it looked a little bit like this. We had a little box like so. We had a line down the middle, which looks a lot like that, right? And what we did was we took the digit that has one number and we put it right here because there's only one space for it right in here. And then what we did with the 42 is, you remember how whenever I say you write the number expanded, and let's say it's a number like 1,234, and we split this up, we say, well, there's 1,000 there plus 200 plus 30 plus 4. You remember how we do that expanded form, Laura? Ethan? All right. So what we're doing is we're using the expanded form of 42. So we just look at 42 and we say, oh, well, there's 4 10s, so that's 40 plus 2. That's how they got the 40 and the 2 right there. And then we put it over here like yesterday. We said 40 and we said 2. And now this makes it where you can indeed do mental math now, because you can say, what's 3 times 40? Anybody? 120, because we know that 3 times 4 is 12, and then there's 1 0, so 120. You put that in this box because that's where they meet right here, right? So when you go over here, because you guys remember, some of you use the multiplication charts, you know, and you say 2 times 3 is 6. Well, that's where the answer is going to go right here. What's 2 times 3? 6. And then Laura, all you do is you add these two numbers here together. You basically do like this. You add them. So that's what? 126. Okay, that's that box method. And see, they already did this over here with 120 and 6. The other method that we used yesterday was down here at the bottom. And a lot of people use this on their homework instead of the boxes. What they did was they said, and it looks a little bit different today, but we took the 3 because it only has one digit, and you do times. And then you have a group right here, and you split up this 42 into 40 and 2. Now what they're doing is they're distributing. You got to take this 3 and you have to multiply it by the 40. So you take this and you put a 40 here. You take this, you put a 2 there. And then you get right here, you get 120 like we did up there. You get a 6 right here. And then we finish it off with 126. This step right here is extra. We didn't have that yesterday. So $126 was collected for the field trip. We have many more examples on this, so don't get hung up on this one first example. All right, next side. Find 7 times 26 mentally using the distributive property. As I said, this right here was an extra step. Ours looked more like this yesterday, where we said 7 times 26 equals this. We put the one digit we put here and here. And this is what I was calling the dead owl, by the way, Laura. Because again, it looks like we have the eyeballs. They're dead. Because, you know, in comic books, you look at animals, they have an X when they're dead. And then the plus goes in the middle for his little beak, the dead owl. All right. Yeah.
That's the eyeball with the X's across the mouth.
Could be. And then we split this 26 up into, how do we, let's go with Lauren. How do we split that 26 up? So we put a 20 here and we put a 6 here. 140 times 7. Okay. And then what's 7 times 6? And now we add those together and we're going to get what? There you go. 182. Eventually, we're going to get to where we will do the numbers that look like this. Okay. But right, what it's doing is it's showing you right here that we're doing this part first in our problem, which we have right here. And then it's also showing that we're doing the 20 times 7, which is right here, secondly. So it'll be, we just add them together. Let's look down here at the bottom. Now remember, I'm going to skip through this first part right here. I'm not doing this first section because that's not the way we did it yesterday. And I don't want to confuse you by adding anything that we didn't do yesterday. So how are we going to, we take the 5 and we put it here in the first blank and here in the second blank, right there. We do that every time because that's the one that has one digit, Ethan. Ethan, how are we going to split this 18 up? You can, but let's talk about how many, what's that digit? A 1, so that's going to be a 10, right? And then we have what left over? 8. You want to have where you have a 10. It makes them easy to multiply. So what's 5 times 10, Ethan? 50. And what's 5 times 8, Ethan? 40. And now we add these together, and when you get, yeah, 90. So our answer is indeed 90. Raise your hand if you understand this method right here. Okay, quite a few of you. Okay, let's do this second one here. 21, 2 times 21. So again, Laura, we have our single digit. So we put that as our first number in our owl's eyes. And then, Laura, you're going to help me. How are we going to break 21 up? How are we going to expand 21? So we put a 20 here, and we put a 1 here. So Laura, what's 2 times 20? What's 2 times 1? What's 40 plus 2? So our answer is 42. You really can't go wrong with this method. Because the way that I looked up here, you know, if I said like 18 times 5, you know, this way you might get lost because you may forget to carry a number to say that's 90. Well, this way here you at least spread it out and you can see the problem as a whole. I'm going to do these 2 here for you, or with you, and then you're going to do these 6 right here, and then we're going to go over those before we do the homework portion. So you can do squares if you need to, yeah. Either, I mean, you're still doing the distributive property that way. All right, so who wants to help me with this problem here? All right, Ireland. What do we do first? Make the owl thing. Gotta put a plus there. All right, now what? Here? Okay. All right. Equals what? 278.
78.
Oh, 78. I was like, what? Yep, 78. Good job. Holly, do number 4 for me. Sure, the 2 eyes. Like that? Three times 2. Okay. Yes, ma'am. 156 is correct. Good. You really got this then, don't you? All right. So, because I walk you through these, sometimes I don't know if we have them or not. So I'm going to walk around as you guys. I want you to do numbers 5 and 6. If you've already done 5 and 6, good for you. But go ahead and work on numbers 5 and 6 by yourself. I'm going to walk around and see how you guys are doing with it. And then we'll see from there. All right, go ahead and do 5 and 6 the other. You said, some of you I went around and you didn't draw this. This is probably the simplest thing you're going to do. And you're going to slap a multiplying in the middle. All right, you got that set up. You should be pretty good to go. Now, always take the one that has just one number in it, which is the 5, and you're going to put it in the first of each bracket. And what you're doing is you're distributing this 5 amongst this number. So this number here, you're splitting up into 20, as most of you did, and 6. Now, this is the problem some of you do. What's 5 times 2?
10.
You write the 10 down, and then you still have to put that 0 right there in there. That's 100. Some of you just had 10. What is 5 times 6? And then you simply add those up. Next one, draw out your owl. Which number are we going to put here and here? What? 4. So how are we going to split 69 up? 60 and 9, she says. All right, what is 4 times 6? Ethan? 24, and then you add that 0 on there. What's 4 times 9? 36. And then you add those together, 276. All right, let's have Asher Thompson walk us through number 7. Tell me exactly everything I need to put down. Why did you pick 40 and 9 for? Good. Okay. All right. Good job. 98 is your answer. Who wants to walk us through number 8? Brighton. Okay. Yep, 161. Good job. How about number 9? Anybody want to walk us through number 9? Casey, you're going to walk us through it. Casey, we're going to draw. We do the parentheses, guys, because when we do order of operations, you do what's in the parentheses first. That's loud, isn't it? So, Casey, we're going to take the number that has. We're at. Okay. And then what? 20. Okay, yeah. Okay. Okay. Now what? Good job. $36. Now what? And then what do you get? Good job, Casey. Casey wasn't even in here yesterday, were you? I didn't think so. All right, and number 10. Who wants to walk us through number 10? All right, Colton, go ahead.
Okay, so I did that one. You want. So I did the owl. The owl. The owl.
Okay, got it. Okay. All right, and what do you get there? All right, now what?
And the 200 and 220 and the 20 together.
And what do you get?
220.
Good job, man. 220, yep. Awesome. Awesome blossom. All right. A horse is 17. You know, I didn't know this till much later in my life that they measure horses by hands. They like do this and they talk about how many hands it is tall. It's kind of weird. I didn't even know that. Anybody else know that? Did you know that, Em? Yes. Ethan? Yes. Did you know that, Holly? They measure horses by hands. If we're out Shawswick farmers, I bet they would know that because they're farming kids. All right, so it's 17 hands. If a hand equals 4 inches, how tall is the horse in inches? So what is our problem going to be? Well, we've been multiplying this whole time. Holly, what do you think? Well, first of all, what's the problem? 4 times 17. Yeah. Okay. Now you said put the owl. Okay. All right. Good. All right. 68 inches tall. Good job. 68 inches. Mr. Collins is buying 5 train tickets for $36 each. What's the total cost? Use the distributive property. All right. So, Mikey, you want to try this one? No. Who wants to try this one? Had you? Okay, Lauren, walk me through it. What's the problem, first of all? All right, 5 times 36. Now what? Okay, and then what? And then 5 times 6. All right, now what? Okay, all right. Okay. Good. He spent $180. A lot of money on tickets. train tickets. And Melanie runs 23 miles each week. How many miles does she run in 9 weeks? Asher Owens, walk me through this one, please. Well, what's the multiplication problem first? Okay, 9 times 23. All right, now we draw the dead owl. I know it's crazy we call it that, but I mean, it looks like it. If it is what it is, right? All right, so now what? Okay. All right. All right, now what? Because 9 times 20 is 180, all right. Is what? 27, all right. And it's what? 207. All right, 207 is our answer. So it looks like she runs in 9 weeks 207 miles. How many of you feel pretty confident that you understand that problem? All right, so I originally said we were going to do this on the Chromebooks, but I attached all of these on there, and I don't want to have to scroll to find your homework on all of it. So what I'll end up probably doing is just putting the homework on those from now on. We may try to do it that way. You paid for the workbook, so we might as well go ahead and use them. But so this is pretty easy as far as, do the same thing with these problems right here that we did with the others. Back here, same thing. Find the multiplication table first, and then do the distributive property. Let's go ahead and do number 7 together, shall we? Well, we're going to do it together, and you can look at it, and I'll leave it up here whenever. Okay. So distributive property also combines subtraction and multiplication. For example, 3 times the group 5 minus 2 equals 3 times 5 minus the group 3 times 2. Explain how you could use the distributive property and mental math to find this right here. Now, we've done the 2 digits. Now we have the 3-digit numbers. So couldn't we just add a parentheses on? Right? Wouldn't we just say, looks to me like if we draw the dead owl, this time it's going to be a 3-eyed owl. It is if you're in a high radioactive area. I'm sure they have 3 eyes all the time. It's space. And looks to me like our 5 is still going to go 5, 5, and 5, right? We can still do that. Now we need to split this 198 up. How are we gonna expand that out? Ray, give me one of them. All right, give me the next one that's gonna go in this one, Ireland. And give me the last one over here.
80.
Not 80. 8. Thank you, Mikey. 8. Pretty easy, right? Now let's go ahead and multiply these. What's 5 times 100? What's 5 times 90? 450. And what's 5 times 8? And if we add those together, we're going to get a grand total of 990. Okay, 990. So this is just kind of telling you later on that you could do a big number like that technically, and you can still do it with distributive. It's just going to take you a lot more of addition. Okay. All right. Do the homework when you guys are finished. I'm gonna give them to you here. When you're finished, turn it in. We have science to do still today, and then we'll have maybe a little bit of free time.